What's going on? This is your man John Fortune, your host of the Frustrated Fan Sports Show, and today I'm telling y'all this Thursday is a game for the throne. The NFC East crown. We are actually sitting up there going to fight for it on Thursday night, this Thursday. Very short turnaround. Not certain if everybody's going to be healed by this turnaround, but it's one of these games that is going to be a game that is going to prove a lot. It's going to show if we are on par with the Philadelphia Eagles, but there are some things that's going to happen, like we won't have our full complement of players there. I mean, Marshawn Lattimore, this will be his second game that he missed. But again, we understand he's on the mend. We have people like Cornelius Lucas. He might not be playing. Tyler Biadasz is having some type of all types of injuries that's going on with him. Andrew Wiley was injured. We're talking about we have a lot of guys currently injured right now, or are dealing with some level of injuries and pain and things like that. So for people who've not had these type of football injuries, they can be very painful. And not only that, they don't mend as quickly as people think. Like sometimes when they tell people, oh, they should be back by the next game, you're talking about a person that sprains their ankle, depending on the grade level of the sprain, it could take a while. I mean, like a grade 2 sprain in the ankle can really take a very long time, and people don't understand. You're actually tearing little pieces of your tendons when you're at the grade 2 level, and that grade 2 level becomes even worse if you have not only an ankle sprain but a foot sprain to go along with it. So, you know, you got to deal with swelling and all that. Now, yeah, we don't have the doctors that the normal people don't have doctors that the teams might have, but at the same time, there's still not enough a doctor can do, even a sports medicine doctor, that he can do to really bring down the pain level. Or, you know, yeah, you put your foot in ice buckets and stuff like that to bring some of the swelling down, get the inflammation coming down and things like that. And hell, you got your foot in a ice tub for at least an hour, and you pull it out and you might feel fine, but once it's been out for a minute, that thing gets to throbbing and you don't know what to do. But again, back to the game. This is going to be a very good game, not only for us, but for Philadelphia as well. Not only that, they have some injuries on their end too. Some ankle injuries and foot injuries on their end. So they have stuff going on with them. We win this game. This will open us up to trying our best to take the lead. For one, we would be the head people for the NFC East. If we lose, we go back a game. And it's going to be hard for us to recover. But Philadelphia has games that they got to deal with coming down the stretch as well. So they're not going to have the easiest path to being the champions of the NFC East. But we actually have a good, clear path. And this is going to be a game that is going to matter a lot. We're going to need Terry McLaurin to have a big game. We're going to need Jaden Daniels to bounce back big time. Like in the last game, he seemed flustered. He seemed like he was out of sync. He seemed like he was rushing. Everything like that. He's going to face a team that does not mind blitzing and will try to sit up there and see if they can rattle him again. So hopefully this time around somebody sits Jaden down and just tries their best to relax him, calm him, get him moving a little bit slower, get him to process a little bit better, because he was struggling last week. But I mean, well, on Sunday, but he will have an opportunity to calm down, settle himself, get himself in a rhythm, and keep it moving. Austin Eckler is going to have to play a huge role in this game. We're going to need him to basically be our version of Saquon Barkley. And don't get me wrong, Austin Eckler can do that. He can be our version of Saquon Barkley. Now, he's not as big as Saquon, but of course, he knows what he's doing when it comes to these type of things. So don't underestimate the value of an Austin Eckler in this game. He will have big value in this game. Now, when it comes to the defense, Dante Fowler Jr. is having a fantastic season, and it's going to be hard to keep a guy like that. Normally, when guys put up these type of sack numbers, it's hard to keep these guys, especially when they feel that it's their opportunity to get a big contract because it might be their last big contract. And Dante Fowler's been in the league for a minute now, and he's going to be looking for the payday. Hopefully we can bring him back, but we'll see what happens and see what goes on in this offseason. But Dante Fowler's been playing very well. Frankie Louvu's been playing well. Bobby Wagner's been playing well. A lot of our defensive linemen has been playing well. Dorrance Armstrong, he's been playing well. He's been solid at the point of attack. But again, we still have to deal with this secondary, man. I mean, man, St. Juice, I already said that he needs to go to the bench once Marshawn is able to play. And because currently right now, he's not the best corner for us. That doesn't mean that he needs to be booted off the team. It just means he needs to sit down and probably examine. Now, I will say this. I don't think that Benjamin St. Juice's time here has been a good moment because you're talking about he missed the Chris Harris. Like, Chris Harris was there, but Chris Harris, he didn't get the full opportunity to really be with Chris Harris at the time because Chris Harris was a very good developmental guy when it came to defensive backs. And, you know, he didn't get that opportunity to really be with Chris Harris. And then the guy who came in was an absolute disaster. So it's one of those things where St. Juice, he never had a good example either. It's not to say that Kendall Fuller couldn't have been a good example, but Kendall Fuller probably isn't the best example. And I think that if Benjamin St. Juice sits on a bench and sees how Marshawn Lattimore plays and how he the way Marshawn Lattimore is aggressive at the line and, you know, he's a lockdown guy, I think that might wake something up in Benjamin St. Juice and give him an opportunity to really learn the position instead of being somebody who's learning from the experience. So, yeah, and you can tell he still has a lot of those bad habits that was taught to him during Ron's time here. So, he's going to have to eventually eliminate all those bad habits because, again, you know, he already's playing off and he lets guys run by him. And it almost seems like there are times where he's scared to play press man. But again, we'll see how this goes. There are a lot of things that's going to come into play in this game, you know. We're going to see Jahan Dotson for the first time to see what his how he's feeling about us as a team and like him being traded away and things like that, and does he have a point to prove, you know. The thing about it is that he will be going up against Noah I, and Noah I is actually a very solid nickel corner, so I think that he won't give him the freedom that he think he's going to get. But we'll see what happens. It's going to be tough going up against A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and all that. So that's going to be a very problematic matchup because St. Juice is going to be playing. He's going to be in. He's going to be the guy. So my concern is that he might get brutalized by A.J. Brown. It's not like we haven't seen him brutalized by A.J. Brown before. But A.J. Brown might have a big day unless they go ahead and find a way to maybe put Sandra Steele on him. I know that's a tough cover for a rookie corner, but I think that Sandra Steele's aggressiveness will work a little better. And you can give him some help on that side. And then, I mean, the problem I have is that if St. Juice lets somebody like a Mike Williams run past him, what's going to happen if he lets a Devontae Smith run past him? Because you're talking about a guy who's a lot faster than Mike Williams. So this is going to be one game that's going to be tough, and it's going to be a lot on our secondary. Our secondary is going to have to step up big time. I could see us probably going 5 and 6 defensive backs in this game, which is probably too much, but still, I mean, we're going to need it. Tackling. You're going to have to tackle in this game. Saquon Barkley does. I mean, we saw the replay. And, I mean, to see a guy basically do a backwards jump over of a guy, that is the most insane thing I've ever seen. I mean, I've seen some amazing stuff on the field, but I've never seen a guy jump over a guy backwards. Like that. That's crazy. So, again, very big game. This game will be for the NFC East throne, and we will see who's truly the kings of the East. So this is going to be a big game. I'm excited for it. We'll see what happens. Now, I will say this. I don't know if we're not going to be up to par to really fight, because our team has been fighting the whole season. Last week, they lost their steam. There are things they can't do. They can't come out defensively in the second half flat. They done that for 3 games straight. They need to not do it for a 4th game. They need to come out in the second half, and they need to be pounding it. Another thing, when you get in the red zone, score. Because this will be, if it gets to a point where it's touchdown for touchdown, Philadelphia is a team that can go touchdown for touchdown with us. So that's going to be one of the big things we're going to have to deal with and be concerned about, that we don't go touchdown for touchdown with them to a point at where we're in trouble all the time. So, again, Terry McLaurin always comes up big in Philadelphia games, so we won't have to worry about that. The last thing I'm going to talk about is this narrative that I heard. And it was about Brian Robinson needing to be available for this game. And I will say this. Brian Robinson, to me, is not needed for just this game. We need Brian Robinson down the stretch and into the playoffs. You're talking about, we need Brian Robinson for when we see Dallas, for when we see the Titans, for when we see the Eagles again, for when we see the Saints, for when we see the Atlanta Falcons. We're going to need Brian Robinson in those games. We're also going to need Brian Robinson for the playoffs. And knowing that you need him for all of that, I don't mind him missing this game. I would rather him be healthy and be ready to play than to sit up there and want him to be available for a game that, if you lose him for the season, now the stretch you need him the most for is going to be a huge waste. We know how valuable Brian Robinson is. We understand that. But again, we only have, at this current moment, 3 losses. We only have 3 losses. We only need 3 wins to get to 10. We only need 4 wins to get to 11. So, to be quite honest, I'm okay with him missing this game. I'm okay with giving him a full week and maybe a week and a half or so to really heal his hamstring. Because I'm going to tell you something. If that hamstring gets worse, we're going to, as a team, we're going to be in a huge amount of trouble. Because again, it's going to be a whole hell of a lot tougher to beat the teams that we have coming down the stretch and to get to 11 wins if we don't have Brian Robinson available to us. So for me, the narrative of Brian Robinson needing to be in the game, scrap that entire damn narrative. Brian Robinson does not have to be available for this game. We need him down the stretch, and we're going to need him going into the playoffs. That's what we're going to need Brian Robinson for. And if fans don't understand that, then maybe you should look deeply into yourself and say, how far do you really want this team to go? Because we can't go far if Brian Robinson is sitting up there and he's injured for the rest of the season. We need him available. So if rest is what he needs, I'd rather him get the rest and have him ready for other games. Because I think after the Philadelphia game is the Dallas game. I would rather him rest and be ready for the next game than for him to force himself to play in this game and end up being out for the rest of the year. All you fans who are with that narrative of he needs to play, scrap that. Scrap that entire narrative. He doesn't need to play. We got better fish to fry down the way. And I would rather get the better fish and fry those fish with Brian Robinson than to be concerned about right now. And I understand it's a tough thing to accept. It's a tough thing to fight against. But when it comes down to it, I'm fine with Brian Robinson not being available for this game. We have won without him in the game before. So we just need to make sure that he's on the mend, that he's healthy, and he's able to do the things he needs to do. So for me, I'm cool with him not being in this game. If he plays, fine. But if he plays and there's a chance of him making the injury even worse, to hell with it, don't play. Y'all tell me what y'all think. How do y'all feel about this game? Do y'all feel that this is going to be something that we really going to actually win? How many of y'all feel that we will win this game? Y'all tell me what y'all think. How do y'all feel about Brian Robinson? Do we need him now? Or is it okay to let him in and we just be okay with the fact that we're going to need him later on, because that marching into the playoffs is far more valuable than sitting up in here having him available for this one game. Y'all tell me what y'all think. Other than that, this has been your man John Fortune, and this has been the Frustrated Fan Sports Show.